The biggest news, of course, that we're covering today is the tragic situation in Las Vegas, where the unthinkable has happened. Could have been a lot worse, and we're grateful that it wasn't. But there's other news, so we will get to the Vegas part second. We'll start with some good news, because that's what we need sometimes in life. There's too much bad news. I was talking with Grandma Karen, who's a big fan of Tesla and all things Tesla and a pillar of the community. And she was saying, it just seems like there's so much bad news out there. And I said, I don't think there is. I think it's our access to it that is limited. So we're going to start off with some good news. And when I want to talk good news, I talk to my buddy Mark. We also talk about terrible news and fake news and poorly written news, and also factory news.
All the news.
All the newses. The important thing to remember is I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. With that out of the way, good news. The IRS, oh boy, I don't know if good news and the IRS has ever gone together, has put out the new list of cars and what credits are available. So I went ahead and pulled up the complete list for 2025. Purchase it in January 1st. That's, as we are there. I can't believe it's 2025. I'm still putting 1997 on my checks. So we've got some options here. The Acura ZDX. That's a great name, guys. Really putting in the overtime there. But full credit. The Lyric, which is, Cadillac's, let's just call it a car. And then, do you know about the Optic?
I do. Yep.
Yeah. Optic, or as I call it, what's Optic? Not much. What's Optic with you? Oh, no, wait. Op with you? Yeah. So the Optic. Okay. Great. I mean, that's clearly a Blazer with a Cadillac badge. And then there's the Blazer, which is, that's
a Blazer with the Blazer badge. Yes.
Yeah. Equinox, a slightly larger Blazer. Silverado, okay.
Smaller Blazer.
It's the Blazer Junior with cheese. Pacifica Hybrid, bleh. Okay, fine. Hey, until we get some real minivan competition, whatever. The Lightning, a few different trims of the Lightning. The Genesis GV70. Genesis? Where's this being made? Do you know?
I do not know where it's being made.
Korea.
Wow.
It is being made in Korea. The Honda Prologue, which is a Blazer with CarPlay.
There's a lot of Blazers in the list, isn't there?
Well, yes, but now Honda owns Acura. So I'm looking at this Honda Prologue and I'm thinking, ooh, is that Acura one of those? And I looked at it, I'm like, it kind of looks like it. So I decided to check it out. Where on earth is this made? And it's not made in Mexico. It is made in Spring Hill, Tennessee.
Ah.
Just like the Cadillac Lyric.
Right.
There it is. Figures.
There's the connection.
We found it. So that's great. We've got the Lyric, the Optic, the Blazers, the Silverados. Yeah, the Honda Prelude, the Ioniq 5 and 9. 5 to 9. Oh, so close to a funny number. These are made in the U.S. The EV69, that's great. Those are both made in the U.S. I think these are Georgia, and I want to say South Carolina. And then under Tesla, oh, what is this? Now, what is the meaning of this?
How did the Cybertruck get on that list?
How did it do it? I had a lot of people telling me it's never going to qualify because of sourcing requirements. And I said, nah, it'll qualify. No, it won't. Nope, the requirements are too strict. It's made in the U.S. The batteries are made in the U.S. The lithium is from one of the 22 partner countries, leaving just the anode and cathode to source. And the cathode is made in Texas. The anode, I'm not sure, but we're getting to a pretty American-made vehicle. Interestingly, if the tariffs hit, the President-elect Trump has said he's going to stop cars coming from Mexico. Stop them all. Which means we'd have the ZDX and the Lyric. The Optic is out. The Blazer's out. The Equinox is out. I don't know where the Pacifica's made. The Lightning is in. That's made in the U.S., except the batteries would probably be out. GV70 would be out. Korea. But he didn't say Korea, so I guess we're going to have the Genesis. The Prologue is out. The Genesis, the Hyundais, and the Kias, and the Teslas. I don't know, man. The more I look at the proposal of restricting trade with Mexico, the more I think it might not be the best idea. Absent from this list, by the way, Polestar, Rivian, Lucid, and Volvo.
They are not making the cut, are they?
No, and Polestar is being made in the U.S. I think it's just above the price cutoff. So that's, unfortunate, which means we have to get to the news. This happened as of today. We're recording this on Wednesday. This happened today. I know you guys covered it on your show. It is the big news. When I first saw it, I just knew that there was a Cybertruck fire and explosion. I didn't understand the order was explosion, then fire. I thought the order was fire, then explosion. But I said I'm going to reserve judgment until I know better, because it, who knows what it could be. And of course, it turned out to be intentional. We're here to find a silver lining. Can you help me find a silver lining here?
That's going to be tough because Trump Tower's gold. But the silver lining.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, this is breaking news. It's we haven't got all the details, but there's talk about the photos that we saw on the Tesla Life. Was the bed of the vehicle had kerosene. It had fireworks. There we go. It's interesting as what was going on here. What's the intent? Is it a PR stunt? Is it intention to harm? We don't know. It's early time.
We don't know. I don't think PR. I think, as I had heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone out there knows, by now I'm sure everyone does, that there was a driver in the vehicle who did not survive. It is believed at this point that the driver may have done it intentionally and triggered it. From looking at it, if we don't know that, if that is not the correct information, I could see this being some kind of goof up where the driver did not mean to do this, but it looks intentional. This was, a lot of people are saying, politically motivated, but and one person I follow even said, Elon, please increase your security detail. They weren't targeting a person with this. That was not, they wouldn't have done it in the wee hours of the morning at a location where Elon and the president-elect are not located. Everyone knew where they were. They were posting about it on X mere hours before. So I don't think the intention was to harm people. I will point out some more silver lining here, though. And this is a post from Sawyer Merritt, the beast himself. He does fantastic work. If you look at this picture, what you will see is a couple things. One, the truck survived remarkably well. So well, in fact, that it contained the blast. The hotel windows didn't break.
Mm-hmm.
That is really keeping the pressure waves locked inside. The tires didn't pop, and a big fire will typically destroy tires, pop them, and they can pop very violently and dangerously. In fact, from the looks of it, the battery never caught fire. Even with the entire truck intentionally torched, it didn't burn to the ground. It burnt out. It's absolutely ruined, but it is remarkably resilient from attacks like this. Yeah, real stupidity all around. It's unfortunate, and kind of heartbreaking that this is the kind of world that we are living in.
It'd be interesting to, as it sits today on Wednesday, we're really not sure about the intent here. But when this video airs, that may be a different story. There'd be a lot more information out on this, I imagine.
Sure. Because this is probably not running until Thursday or Friday, because tomorrow morning is the deliveries, and I'll be covering that live. I will have covered that live. If you really want to make a Cybertruck blow up, Cybertruck qualifies for the 7,500. That'll blow up sales. Let's call that good enough. General rule of thumb, I don't think protests should be violent. I think you can make your voice heard without causing terror in the hearts of many. And I'm deeply disappointed that, these things happen.
Yeah.
So with that said, we've got some questions from last week's show, which we will address right now. So questions from last week's show, we address everyone's questions, not everyone's, as many as we can. Hey, has BYD paid their suppliers?
Why is this a question? Has there been a rumor going around that suppliers are not being paid?
BYD apparently pays slower than other OEMs, but that's likely the terms. When it comes to large contracts like this, you have net 30 terms, and often in your contract it says, here's the price net 30, 60, and 90. And some companies will even say, if you want to pay net 10, we'll give you 1% off. Or if you want to pay net 0, where you pay us before we've even gotten your order, we'll give you an even better deal, just so we have the capital on hand. So I'm not worried about BYD and their finances. I'm confident they are doing just fine. In China, BYD's MO was masses of dirt cheap labor to build things, rejecting automation as too expensive. Will that approach fly elsewhere, and can they evolve to using automation?
Oh, definitely. Over time, automation will come to BYD. In fact, it's there now. It's just that they are finding places that use of it financially makes sense at this moment in time. That situation changes week by week, year by year, based on what they're finding internally.
Absolutely. And I would agree with you on all counts. BYD is trying to automate, but it is difficult and expensive, and they will do it more and more. In other countries where labor is even cheaper than China, China used to be the low-cost leader. That has not been the case for at least 10 years, probably more like 15. That's why we're seeing a lot of textile manufacturing in Bangladesh and Vietnam. They will perhaps be slower to automate in those places, but it's still coming. Automation is unstoppable. England actually still makes a fairly large number of cars. They're just no longer British. Mini is owned by BMW and Land Rover is owned by Tata. Why not add the Chinese companies to that list? I didn't think they were being made in England. If they are, that's interesting. U.S. companies, apart from Tesla, tend to build cars in Mexico and Canada, while tons of European and Japanese build cars in the U.S. Obviously, the relationship with China is complicated, but this is not new. Your take?
It's true in a sense. Certainly when it comes to North America, a number of the automakers will set up in different countries between the three: Mexico, U.S., Canada, and there will be favorites and non-favorites based on what that manufacturer has experienced in the past. I know that here in Ontario, Toyota and Honda are big employers. They've set up a couple of factories each, and they're expanding because they have done business that way with the MC US MX agreement, and they've done that now for decades, and it's worked out well for them. So you've got this thing where you've got these companies that are looking at where to set up, where to expand operations, and they're going with what they have experience with. And that's not a surprise after you've done work in those countries for decades.
I think you're absolutely right. Now, here's a question I think is specifically for you. And by the way, if Ontario was its own country, do you know how large of an auto manufacturing country it would be? It'd be significant.
Yes.
It'd be top 10 for sure.
It might be top 5.
It might be
top 5.
There's a lot of auto manufacturing. Where is my 25 Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive made for Ontario, Canada?
Where is my...
So the rear-wheel drive Model Y.
Yeah.
I would have to say, I think Fremont.
That's where...
I know Fremont makes them.
There was a policy change based on availability at one point. We were getting them from China. Some of them came in via China, but that policy has stopped and started and stopped again. So right at this moment in time, I believe they are coming from a Fremont, but that has flip-flopped a couple times with Chinese cars entering the Ontario market.
I've actually had a chance to see and examine a Chinese-made Model Y that was purchased in Vancouver, BC. Yeah, the Model Ys were coming. I think that ended when the new tariffs were put in place. And that's, unfortunate. Fine. We won't ship them from China. We'll ship them from the US instead. But I'm not sure if Texas makes rear wheel drive. So I don't know. My answer would be ask someone in the owners club. Ontario does have a Tesla owners club that is quite active.
And it is easy to find out where your car came from because the VIN number has a letter indicating what factory it actually came from.
Well, and your door sticker should say country of origin as well. You know what? Just call the service center or the delivery center. They can answer that very easily. Almost done here. Trade war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. I don't think that's a question, but if you're enjoying your music with your fantastic Tesla surround sound, will FSD still be able to respond to the sirens since the mic is in the car?
It's certainly going to affect what the microphone picks up because of you've got ambient noise, you've got the speaker system, you've got your music blaring. Even if you have loud people in the car, that is going to fight for the attention of the microphone. So yes, it can affect it.
And I would say yes, but can you hear a siren when you're in the car? If you can hear it, it can hear it. If you can't hear it, then it can't hear it. And I think that's for something that was never designed for that purpose. I think that's a reasonable expectation. And I would agree with you. I've had passengers like my mother-in-law who absolutely sounds like a siren. And then the last question I think we'll do, wasn't Hyundai found to be violating child labor laws in the US? They sort of. The answer is sort of. One of their suppliers was using child labor. Yes. And I think by child labor, we mean like 15 or 16, maybe 14, but not like 10. It was kind of a big deal. But not everyone heard about it, and they fixed it, hopefully. But there have been more than one case of companies of reputable companies, otherwise reputable companies, being caught using child labor. Hollywood is not reputable, but they use child labor. So I guess that's a different matter.
That's another story.
That's another story. Hey guys, did you know that the Tesla Life is coming up on 10,000 subscribers? Fact check. Is that true?
It's true.
So that's very exciting. Congratulations to Patrick, Casey, and of course Mark from the Tesla Life Show. Link in the description. Check them out. They have a lot of fun. If you guys have questions, leave them. Leave your comments in the questions below. What did we miss? What did we misunderstand? And for those who don't know, I am going to Starbase to try and check out Launch 7. I'm very excited and stressed out about it because it's a very stressful thing. So, yeah, we'll make it happen. Everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do. Subscribing remains free. It's a wonderful way to support the channel. You could do that. It'd be awesome. And can't wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.